Good morning. Welcome to the Windsor Star News Cafe. I'm Don McArthur, and I'm here with Dylan Kristy. I don't know if there were any knockout blows at the mayoral debate last night at the Caboto Club, but definitely some good quips and a prominent no-show.
Yeah, there were some excellent jabs. Most of the mayoral candidates were in attendance. Of the big three, of course, that's Drew Dilkens, Larry Horowitz, and John Milson. Larry Horowitz was a no-show. Now, he has been busy on the campaign trail. There's a lot of pictures that he's been posting and his team of him kissing babies, shaking hands. You look at his Twitter and Facebook, he's blowing up. He's getting out there. But
exactly, he's at the superhero run on the weekend. Horowitz, he's meeting with Korean grocers. And just yesterday, we thought he was doing this in advance of the debate. He went out and he doesn't look very happy here,
No.
to be honest.
Couldn't
They
look
put this
more...
up on Twitter. More enthused, Larry. But he got his beard dyed pink for breast cancer, and we thought that was going to be an excellent prop for that debate last night, hosted by a University of Windsor Women's Association.
Yeah, the Canadian Federation of University Women. It was the Windsor chapter. It was hosted at the Caboto Club. CTV's Kristy was the moderator. But I just want to throw this out there quickly. Larry Horowitz, he's everywhere. We've mentioned this before. If the mayoral seat was decided based solely on Facebook likes and Twitter followers. On Facebook, Larry Horowitz has almost 1,400 likes. Dilkens has about 800, and John Milson has about half that at just over 460. So
yeah, and just a handful of Twitter, he's leading the Twitter race too. Like they're all sort of rookies when it comes to social media. But Horowitz dominates that. He hasn't been here. We've invited him here. He didn't come to our candidate all call. He used to be my landlord when I lived downtown, and always dealt with me honorably. So I'm going to try to reach out to him. Try to get him on the show. We want to hear from him, but it's tough because these candidates, when the campaign comes, they're in a bubble, and you can, like the rock stars, you can only sort of get them through handlers. But he was going to go to that debate last night, and then didn't go because he had sort of a prior commitment. Dilkens did the opposite.
Yeah, at first he said he was going to go, and then when he found out, the story goes, when he found out who would be in attendance, he changed his mind. There were going to be supporters of the NDP, members of Unifor Local 444, and representatives from the Canadian Association of Retired Persons. Now, for some reason, I guess he just didn't want to speak to a crowd of Labour supporters, I guess, or
yeah, I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure he's fine with CARP, with the Canadian Association of Retired Persons.
Yeah, I don't know how anyone could not be. But
so it was probably the Labour angle, of course, because they've come out and endorsed Milson. So we want to hear from him eventually on this, because it seems kind of convoluted. And boy, did he get just blasted today in a Windsor Star editorial. A full editorial just takes him to task. That says, hey, you got to get your act together, and if you want to be mayor of this town, you can't choose who and when you want to talk to. You have to engage all people from all parties, from all stripes and all walks of life if you want to represent one of the most multicultural cities in Canada. Boy, tore a strip off him.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Milson, you mentioned that there probably weren't any knockouts, but there were a few good jabs. One of the things when Dilkens said that he's the only candidate who has presented an infrastructure spending plan with actual numbers, Milson came back and said that it was already a plan that was contained in the 5-year capital plan, and the only thing that Dilkens did throughout that whole thing was just raise his hand on council.
Ouch.
Yeah.
And we talked a bit about that yesterday with Eddie, right? That for good or for bad, Dilkens is running sort of as the incumbent. He's running on the record of council, so if you like that record, you vote for him. If you don't like that record, you hold it against him. For good or for bad, he wears it. So I think the best line of the night probably goes to Milson just for that jab.
Well, another favorite one of mine too, Milson, he went on this long soliloquy about how when he was mayor, he spent time in South Windsor basements actually mopping up the floors to help some of the residents. And it was actually Robin Easterbrook who came to Dilkens' defense and asked Milson why he was just mopping up water instead of actually doing something about it with the infrastructure. Okay, so that's a fair question. Yeah, it's good.
I like it. They'll be here, of course, on October 14th. We're going to have our mayor's debate. We're gearing up for that. The chamber debate is next week. Some of the fringe candidates were out there last night. They were not to be outdone. My favorite, Steve Gavrilitis, he's running for mayor, and he came up with a plan to have ward games to pitch. So you get a baseball team in Ward 9 going against a baseball team in Ward 8, coached by the various candidates.
It's a fun idea. It's
a fun idea. It'll get kids off the couch, get them healthy. But he pitched that. Timothy Dugdale.
Rockin'. He was probably the most stylish of the night. He had a Skull T-shirt on underneath of a blazer, so
yeah,
he was in his finest form.
Enthused to be in his shadow in that photo. But he wants a commuter trail between Bell River and Windsor. Not a bad idea if we had the money for it. And Ronald Van Dyke, he wants to keep a lid on policing costs with drone copters.
Yeah, and I can see a whole bunch of issues with that. I'm sure people will not be happy with drones flying over their houses to monitor them. So it was an interesting debate. I wish I could have been there. Unfortunately, I wasn't in attendance, but hopefully it's just the beginning of many good conversations. Like you said, we will have a debate here coming up. But even going back to Horowitz, before this even happened, before he was a no-show, people were questioning his sincerity about his seriousness as a top runner in the mayoral race, and it kind of brings that into question again.
Sure it does. Is he in this to win this thing, or is he in it to spoil it for somebody else? Jarvis, she actually wrote a column about that, saying, you know, the secret is, like, who is he actually trying to be the spoiler for? Vanders talked about it too, like, you know, the Ambassador Bridge, who are they paying for? Is it Horowitz? Is it Milson? Is it Dilkins? Nobody knows. You know, it'll take, you know, sort of months after the fact probably to find out who is funding who, this and that. But if you want to sort of win the mayor's race, it's probably not a good idea to skip mayoral debates. What do I know, though? I'm just a journalist. I'm not running for office. But hopefully he is confirmed for October 14th here. Again, I'm going to reach out and hopefully just to make sure that he's going to be here. Some other no-shows last night. Ernie the Bacon Man, he wasn't there. Raymond Poisson, the anti-poverty guy who came to the cafe to record a video, he wasn't there. And the elusive Bruce Martin, we can't find anything about this guy, Bruce. If you're out there, contact us. We want to help thresh out your profile on our website, but we can't do it without help from you.
Exactly. We'd love to have you on the show as well.
For sure. Okay, today on the campaign trail, the big thing is John Milson has a campaign announcement at 10. Near City Hall on Glengarry Avenue, talking about transparency at City Hall. He's already come out and blasted the city, of course, for concealing flooding data from the Windsor Star FOI request and from taxpayers.
Absolutely. We have a busy day on the show as well for you today. We have Paul Borelli, who's running in Ward 10 as candidate there, Daniel Hofgartner, who's running in Tecumseh, and the one and only Roz Langell, who, of course, is hosting a debate tonight in Ward 1 at the South Windsor Recreation Complex.
Okay, thanks for joining us on Trail Talk at the Windsor Star News Cafe.